What's up, everyone? Welcome back. So today I've decided to do my top 5 favorite snap-on power tools out of what I've owned. I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones out there that I don't own. So this is pretty much everything I've got except for my 14-4 screwdrivers at the other shop, but it's not going to be on the list, so it doesn't really matter. But everything else is here, and I'm going to start. Actually, I'm going to start with an honorable mention because I haven't had this one very long. So I'm not completely sure if it may end up getting moved into a spot, but at the moment it's got to take the place of a icon, so I don't think it will, but it may. But the CT9010, it's not quite sure how I feel about that one yet. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It has lots of power and I use it a lot, but these 5 are what I use more than any other power tools. And most of them I use more than any other brand of power tools, which I have a few other ones. But anyway, let's get started. So number 5 is going to be the long neck 3/8, not the Brute, but the CTR 767. 3/8 ratchet. Use this thing a good bit. Not as much as some of the other tools, but it is handy for getting into tight spots. Mostly suspension components and things like that. Some engine stuff, but most engine stuff don't really need something that big. So let's move along to number 4. Number 4, the CT9075. This thing is just a monster. This big old brushless 1/2-inch impact. I have yet to find something this thing can't break loose. It is ridiculously heavy, but it is an excellent impact. One of my favorite features is you can change the power just like on the 9010, whether if you're loosening something you can have one power setting, and then if you're tightening something you can have another power setting, so you don't over tighten the bolt or lug nut or whatever you're doing. Anyway, moving on to number 3. So number 3 is going to be the new brushless die grinder, the right angle. This one was hard to decide which of the 2 die grinders to go on here. Man, I can't even read that. We'll call it CT something. Good grief, it is really just gone. I can't see it anymore. Or is it CT? I would think it is. Maybe. Anyway, y'all know what it is. Right angle die grinder, 14-4 brushless. This thing came on the scene this year and has just been awesome. I use this every day. Anytime I need a die grinder, one of these 2 come out, but usually it's this one. Usually keep a roll lock on it, but definitely it's got speed for cleaning, grinding, whatever you need to do. This thing works really well. So we had 5, 4, 3, so 2. And 2, even though it's probably one of the oldest designs here, the CT761, I believe this is the B or C model now. They've made a few updates to them. I can't remember. It's the newest one that's out. But this thing is just definitely my favorite small impact. That toggle trigger is where it's at. Now granted, it's not as powerful as like the stubby up there, but it's still, for 90% of what you need, it's got it. So definitely going to be number 2 on this list. And I couldn't decide whether it was going to be 2 or 1, but after I went through today, I decided this is definitely number 2, and the next one for sure is number 1. And so, number one, see if I can see that. I can see that part number. The CTR 717G long neck quarter inch. This thing is probably the most used tool in my shop. Just constantly use this thing. Any 8s, 10s, even 12s that I run into, it'll get down in some really tight places. It's got decent power. It's not the most powerful thing in the world, but it's got decent power, easy to use, good battery life, and it is by far my most used ratchet and probably my most used tool besides maybe a flashlight. But I use this thing constantly. Anyway, I guess the ones that I left out, we'll talk about that real quick. Drills, I don't drill a lot. So, maybe for you a drill may be the one in your list, but I very rarely drill anything. And when I do, I'm not really looking forward to it. I have no problem with the snap-on drills. I have the 18-volt hammer drill because it's all he had on the truck and I needed it. Don't really need a hammer drill, but the 14.4, which since they've updated this, see if I can see that, CDR 761B, since they've updated this design and put the ratcheting mechanism in the clutch, it is a much better drill. If you get one of the older ones, even I think just the regular CDR 761, it didn't have a ratcheting mechanism and it would just constantly back off on the clutch or on the, must not chuck, saying clutch, but anyway, it would back off and your drill bit would fall out. It was horrible. But now they've updated it. Haven't had any problems with it, but I just don't drill, not much at all. And then this drill, the CDRR 761, it's a very specific tool that only needed at very specific times. When I need it, it's a must, but very rarely need it. And then the 18-volt, I don't use this very much at all. Every once in a while I'll pull it out, but I imagine it's probably going to get a new model coming out soon, so it's probably going to be going away before too long. And then the older series, I still use the the 8850 a lot. It's a lot lighter than the 9010 or 9075, but it not as much power, but usually I keep it in my car in case I need to do something around the house. And at this point with the 8810, I don't really use it at all. I was comparing it between the new one and the old one, but it's probably going to go home in the next few days and just hang around the house. Anyway, guys, oh, and one other thing is this, the Brute, the CTR 762. This thing's too slow. It definitely wasn't going to make the list. But, alright guys, I hope you like my top 5 video. I'm going to try to post a video tomorrow and Friday, so be on the lookout, subscribe, and hit the bell notification, because I'm going to try to make a video tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. So, stick around for that. Until then, I'll see y'all later.